I say to you, there is no tomorrow. Listen to me and listen with your heart, not your head, because your head will immediately argue. Your head will say, but Osho, surely there is a tomorrow. The sun will rise, the calendar will change, I have appointments. Yes, the clock will tick, the earth will rotate, but that is not the tomorrow I am talking about. I am talking about the psychological tomorrow, the tomorrow where you have stored all your dreams, all your hopes, all your potential for peace. That tomorrow is a lie. It is a trick of the mind, a shadow that has never lived, never breathed, and yet look at you. Look closely at your own life. You spend your whole existence chasing it, holding it, fearing it, loving it. You are sacrificing the only reality you have, this breath, this heartbeat, this silent flame inside you, for a ghost. Today I want to shake you. I want to wake you from this deep sleep. You have been sleeping for centuries, dreaming that you are going somewhere, dreaming that you are becoming someone. But in this running after tomorrow, you have forgotten who you are right now. In this talk, I will show you how the mind creates this illusion of time. I will show you why tomorrow keeps you weak, keeps you afraid, keeps you divided. And I will show you, not just tell you, but show you how to step out of this trap and taste the joy that is already here waiting for you. But before we go deeper into this surgery of the soul, if you feel a resonance with these words, if you feel a trembling in your heart that says, yes, I am tired of running, then subscribe to this channel. Make a commitment not to me but to your own awakening. Like this video to help this message reach other sleeping souls, and share it. Be a vehicle for consciousness. Now come back to me. Drop your defenses. You have been taught that time is real. From the moment you were a small child, society has been whispering in your ear. The parents, the teachers, the priests, they all told you the same lie. Work hard now, enjoy later, sacrifice today for a better tomorrow. They taught you to measure life, to cut it into minutes and hours and years. They taught you to fear losing time. But have you ever asked yourself, can you lose something that does not exist? Existence does not know minutes. Existence does not know hours. The trees are not worried about being late. The birds are not planning their retirement. The sun does not rise because it is 7 a.m. It rises because it is its nature to overflow with light. Existence moves only in this one endless vertical moment, this breath, this pulse. This is all there is. It is the mind that breaks this single moment into past and future. The mind is a cutting machine. It cuts the wholeness of life into pieces. It creates yesterday to store its memories, its dead weight, and it creates tomorrow to project its fantasies. And then trapped between these two non-existent worlds, you miss the door to the divine. The more the mind divides, the more you fall away from the living truth of now. The mind creates the distance and then complains that the world feels far away. It says, I am lonely, I am bored, I am anxious. But the problem was never the world. The problem was never life. Life is perfect. Life is a celebration. The problem was the thought of time. Look at a small child playing. Have you ever truly watched a child? Not with the eyes of a parent regulating them, but with the eyes of a meditator witnessing them. The child is playing under the open sky. He is collecting stones or chasing a butterfly. Is he counting the moments? Is he worrying about what he will do next year? Is he regretting that he didn't catch the butterfly yesterday? No, the child is utterly absorbed. He is drunk with the present. For him, time has not been invented yet, and because of that innocence, every moment becomes so full, so rich, so bright, that even a single flower can hold the whole universe for him. He is not poor, he is the emperor of existence. But you have become a beggar. You have traded that kingdom for a calendar. As you grew, society started its work. It told you the past is heavy and must be carried. Remember your history. Remember your mistakes. Remember your guilt. It loaded you with a backpack of stones, and then it told you the future is dangerous and must be controlled. Save money, be secure, find a husband, find a wife, become famous. Slowly, slowly, you forgot the simple joy of just being. You forgot the taste of the present. When was the last time you saw a sunrise without thinking of the time? When was the last time you looked into someone's eyes without thinking of what you want from them or what they think of you? The sun rises for no one's schedule. It rises out of pure being, and in that rising, there is no hurry. Nature is never in a hurry, yet everything is accomplished. You are always in a hurry, and nothing is ever accomplished. You run and run, spinning in circles, arriving nowhere. I am here to give you something very different. I am not here to give you a new philosophy. You have enough philosophies. They are just more junk in the attic of your mind. I am here to take you beyond the old ideas, beyond the fear, beyond the tension you carry every day. I want to give you back your own life. This journey we are on, it requires support. We are building a commune of awareness here, a digital ashram. If you want to be part of this energy field, if you want to support this work so it can continue to flow like a river, you can click the join button, become a member. It is a gesture of saying, I value this truth. Or you can use super thanks to offer your gratitude. It is not about the money, it is about the energy exchange. When you give, you become open to receive. And for those who want to go deeper into these words, to read them in silence, our ebooks are available. Check the links. But remember, the real work is inside you. Now let us go deeper into the mechanism of the mind. Why does the mind invent time? Why is it so obsessed with tomorrow? Because the mind cannot survive in the present. This is the secret I want you to penetrate. The mind is a mechanism of thought. Thought requires memory, past or projection, future. You cannot think about now, you can only be in the now. The moment you think about the now, it is already the past. So the mind invents time as a shelter. It is afraid of the present. Why? Because the present is vast. It is wide. It is like an abyss. If you fall into the now, the ego disappears. The I disappears. And that is the greatest fear of the ego, death. So it clings to tomorrow. It says, I will be happy tomorrow. I will meditate tomorrow. I will love tomorrow. Tomorrow is the ego's lifeline. But it is a false lifeline. It is a rope made of smoke. In hiding inside this idea of tomorrow, you lose the vastness of the sky. You lose the freedom of the wind. You become a prisoner in a small, dark room of your own making. And the walls of this room are decorated with pictures of a future that will never come. I want you to feel this right now. Close your eyes for a second if you can. Where is tomorrow? Can you touch it? Can you show it to me? No, it is only in your head. It is imagination. And where is yesterday? It is dead. It is a corpse you are carrying. The only thing that is real is this voice, this listening, this sensation of sitting. When you say past, you are only recalling thoughts. When you say future, you are only projecting thoughts. Both are shadows. They are not reality. And when you look closely, when you watch your thoughts rise and fall like small waves on a big ocean, you begin to see that time is nothing more than the space between these waves. It is a mental trick, a habit, a collective dream. If time is only a thought, then everything you have built on time is also only a thought. Your anxiety, a thought. Your ambition, a thought. Your regret, a thought. Your waiting, a thought. All these shadows depend on the idea of time to survive. If you pull out the root, the belief in time, the whole tree of suffering begins to tremble. And this trembling, this is good. This trembling is the beginning of freedom. It is the cracking of the shell. But the mind is cunning. It is a politician. It will not give up its power easily. It plays an even stranger game, one that steals your life without you ever noticing. Once the mind creates the idea of time, it begins to worship it. It builds a false altar. Tomorrow becomes the home of your desires. Every dream you carry is pushed into it. Every hope is saved for it. One day I will rest. One day I will be peaceful. One day I will retire and do what I love. But that one day is the horizon. As you move towards it, it moves away. You can run towards the horizon for 1,000 lifetimes. You will never reach it. It is an optical illusion. You are like a donkey with a carrot hanging in front of your eyes. The carrot is dangling from a stick tied to your own head. You run for the carrot. You think, just a few more steps and I will have it. But because you move, the stick moves. The carrot moves, the tomorrow moves, and you miss the green grass that is right under your feet. You miss the lush vegetation of the present moment, because your eyes are fixed on a dried up carrot called future. This is the tragedy of human consciousness today. You are starving in the middle of a feast. God or existence or truth, whatever name you prefer, has spread a banquet before you right now. The sun, the air, the love, the silence. It is all served, but you are busy looking at the menu for next week. You are eating the menu and you are wondering why you do not feel nourished. You are wondering why you feel empty inside. Stop eating the menu. Throw it away. Taste the food. The mind tells you that you are incomplete. It says you need this car to be happy. You need this partner to be whole. You need this enlightenment to be spiritual. It always puts the condition in the future. It makes happiness conditional. If this happens, then I will be happy. This is the greatest slavery. Happiness is not a result. Happiness is a consequence of living in the present. It is not something you get. It is something you are when you stop trying to get somewhere else. And it is not just desire. Tomorrow is also the hiding place of fear. You think fear lives in the past. No, the past is finished. It cannot bite you. A dead snake cannot bite. But you drag the skeleton of the snake into the future and imagine it coming back to life. Fear is always about what might happen. What if I lose my job? What if I get sick? What if I die? What if she leaves me? What if? This is the mantra of the coward mind. Because the mind paints the future with such dark strokes, you begin to tremble. Nothing is happening right now. You are sitting here, safe, breathing. but your mind is in a car crash that hasn't happened. Your mind is in a hospital bed that you aren't in. You are suffering 1,000 deaths before you die once. In fact, the actual death will be much easier than the 1,000 deaths you imagine. Real death is just like blowing out a candle, poop and silence. But the death your mind imagines is torture. You fight an enemy made of imagination. And in this fight, you lose the quiet joy that is being offered to you right now. The present moment is never the problem. Have you ever had a problem in the now? Not a thought about a problem, but an actual problem in the immediate second. If a tiger attacks you, you don't have a problem, you have a situation. You react, you run, or you fight. There is no time to think, oh, this is a problem. You are pure action. But when you sit in your armchair and think about tigers, that is a problem. That is anxiety. So you stay waiting, suspended between a dying past and an unborn future. You are a ghost. You are not really here. If I pinch you, you might feel it. But your mind is miles away. You are never where your body is. Your body is in the office. Your mind is at the beach. Your body is making love. Your mind is thinking about the grocery list. This is a kind of schizophrenia. The whole of humanity is living in a low-grade madness. Running after tomorrow empties you. It drains your energy. It makes you shallow. You become a surface person. You lose your depth. And the tragedy is you don't even realize what you have lost until it is too late. You only feel a strange restlessness, a subtle tension, a constant sense that something is missing. That missing thing is you. That missing thing is today. Now, I know the mind is clever. It will say, okay, Osho, I understand. I will stop thinking about tomorrow. But guess what? That is also a plan for tomorrow. I will stop thinking tomorrow. You cannot force it. You cannot fight the mind with the mind. If you fight the mind, you are just creating a new conflict, a new noise. So what to do? Nothing. Just understand. Just see. Seeing is the transformation. When you see a snake crossing your path, do you have to make an effort to stop? Do you have to repeat a mantra, I must not step on the snake? No. You jump. The action is immediate. The understanding is the action. When you truly see that tomorrow is poison, you simply drop the cup. You don't ask, how do I drop it? You just drop it. But we must go deeper. We must look at the good tomorrow, the hope. Hope, the sweetest poison. The politicians use it. The priests use it. Hope for heaven. Hope for a better nation. They keep you hoping so you don't look at the chains around your ankles right now. Hope is the opium. You think hope is the opposite of fear. I say to you, hope and fear are holding hands. They are twins. You hope because you are afraid. If you were totally fearless, totally content, why would you hope? For what? You have everything. Hope is a sign of poverty. A king does not hope for gold. He has it. A beggar hopes. Spiritually, you are all beggars standing on a gold mine, begging for pennies of hope. Hope says, the next moment will be better than this one. It is an insult to existence. It is saying to God, your creation right now is not good enough for me. Make it better. Who are you to judge? This moment is as it is. It contains the seed of everything. If you cannot be happy in this moment, I guarantee you, you will not be happy in the next. Because when the next moment comes, it will come as this moment. And you will still have the habit of hoping for the next one. You will turn paradise into hell just by hoping for a better paradise. It is like a man packing for a journey. He folds his clothes perfectly. He checks his map. He buys the best suitcase. He spends years preparing, but he never opens the door. He never steps out. He dies in his bedroom, surrounded by luggage. His life dissolves in the preparation. Don't be that man. Unpack the bags. Throw away the map. The journey is not out there. The journey is in here, into the vertical depth of the now. The mind hates silence because silence exposes it. In silence, the mind stands naked. It has no decorations, no titles, no bank accounts. In silence, you see the mind for what it is, a chattering machine, a monkey jumping from branch to branch. That is why you are addicted to noise. You turn on the TV the moment you enter the house. You scroll through your phone. You call a friend. Anything to avoid that one moment of silence where you have to meet yourself. You are terrified of being alone with yourself. You are bored with yourself. If you are bored with yourself, think how boring you must be to others. But if you can sit in silence and feel a tremendous joy just by breathing, then you have found the treasure. Then you are free. This freedom, it is available. It is not for the special ones, the chosen ones. It is your birthright, but you have to claim it. You have to stop being a victim of time. I want you to try something simple today, a small experiment. When you are eating, just eat. Don't think about business. Don't watch the news. Taste the food. Feel the texture. Be with the act of eating. When you are walking, just walk. Feel the ground. Feel the air. Be with the act of walking. Pull your energy back from the future and pour it into the action of the present. Suddenly, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. The water tastes like wine. The walking becomes a dance. This is the alchemy of awareness. It turns the base metal of a mundane life into the gold of a spiritual existence. We are just beginning to scratch the surface. The layers of illusion are thick, built up over lifetimes. But the sword of awareness is sharp. In the next part of this talk, I will show you how to cut deeper. We will look at the ego, the false self that lives in time, and how to dissolve it. We will look at how to live in the world of time, calendars, clocks, meetings, without belonging to it. How to be in the world but not of it. But for now, sit with this truth: there is no tomorrow. There is only you here, now. If this message has touched a sleeping part of your soul, do not let it go back to sleep. Engage with this energy. Leave a comment below. Share your experience of waiting. Tell me how the illusion of tomorrow has held you back. Your confession is the beginning of your liberation. And share this video with someone you love, someone who is also running, someone who needs to stop and breathe. And as you sit with this truth, as you begin to feel the weight of this tomorrow you have been carrying, you must understand that this is not just an intellectual burden. It is an emotional disease, and the primary symptom of this disease is fear. You see, fear cannot exist in the present moment. I want you to verify this for yourself. Right now, in this split second, is there any fear? There may be pain, there may be discomfort, there may be a situation you need to deal with, but fear? No. Fear needs time to grow. Fear needs a future to project itself onto. Fear is always about what will happen next. It is never about what is happening now. If a dog chases you, you run. That is action. That is instinct. It is pure, it is simple, it is alive. But if you sit in your safe room and think, what if a dog chases me tomorrow? That is fear. And that fear paralyzes you, it drains your energy. It makes you tremble before an enemy that is not even there. You are fighting ghosts. And because you are fighting ghosts, you can never win. How can you defeat something that does not exist? You slash your sword in the air. You exhaust yourself, you scream. But the ghost remains because the ghost is your own creation. The mind uses fear to keep you out of the present. It whispers, watch out, be careful, the future is dark, and so you shrink. You contract, you build walls around your heart to protect yourself from this imaginary future, and inside those walls you slowly suffocate. You call this security, I call it a coffin. A secure life is a dead life. Life is insecure. Life is wild. Life is dangerous. That is its beauty. A flower blooming in the wind is insecure. Any moment a storm can come. But does the flower close up? Does it say, I will not bloom today because there might be a storm tomorrow? No. It opens, it risks everything, and in that risk, it releases its fragrance. You have forgotten how to be like the flower. You are more like a stone closed, hard, protecting yourself. But protecting yourself from what? From life itself. Let me tell you a story. There was once a monk who feared death so deeply that he could not sleep, could not meditate, could not even laugh. Every sound startled him. Every shadow looked like the grim reaper. His master watched him for months, saying nothing. Then one evening, as the sun was setting, painting the sky in blood-red colors, the master called him. Sit here, the master said, and show me your fear. The monk trembled. But master, I am terrified. I know, said the master. Bring the fear out. Put it here on the ground between us. Let us look at it. The monk closed his eyes. He waited for the monster to appear. He waited for the panic to strike. But sitting there, in the immediate presence of the master, in the absolute silence of the evening, he could not find the fear. He looked for the future. But the sunset was so beautiful, so overwhelming, that it pulled him into the now. I cannot find it, the monk whispered. Because it is not here, the master laughed. You are here. The fear is always there, and there does not exist. Do you see? You are that monk. You are trembling before a shadow, and the only way to dissolve the shadow is to bring a light. That light is your awareness. That light is your presence. When you are fully here, fear evaporates. It is a simple chemical equation. Presence plus now equals no fear. Mind plus future equals fear. But the mind has another trick, perhaps even more dangerous than fear, because it is sweeter. It is called waiting. You are all waiting. Look at your life. Are you living it, or are you preparing to live it? Are you dancing, or are you rehearsing for a dance that is scheduled for some future date? Most of you are in a constant state of rehearsal. You are getting ready, you are studying, you are working, you are saving, you are planning. You say, when I have $1 million, then I will really live. When I find the perfect soulmate, then I will really love. When the kids are grown up, then I will relax. When. This is the mantra of the unlived life. You treat the present moment as a stepping stone. It is just something to step on to get to the next moment. You don't value it for itself. You value it only because it leads to tomorrow. But if you miss this step, you will miss the next one too, because the next one will also be a now when it arrives, and you will have the habit of stepping on it, looking for the one after that. You become a professional waiter. And I don't mean a waiter in a restaurant, at least he serves food. You serve nothing. You just wait. You wait for the weekend. You wait for the holiday. You wait for retirement. And finally, you wait for death. That is the only thing that will definitely come without you needing to wait for it. There is a subtle pain in this waiting. It is a dull ache in the chest. It is the feeling of life slipping through your fingers like sand. You hold it tight, but the tighter you hold, the faster it slips. You are polishing your shoes for a journey you never take. Imagine a man who wakes up every morning and polishes his shoes. He shines them until they sparkle like mirrors. He brushes his coat, he packs his bag, he checks the map, he looks at the weather report. He says, almost ready, just a little more preparation, and then the sun goes down. He takes off his shoes, unpacks his bag, and goes to sleep. And the next morning, the same thing. Polishing, packing, checking. Years pass. His hair turns gray. His hands shake. The shoes are worn thin from so much polishing, but they have never walked on the road. The bag is tattered, but it has never seen a mountain. This man is you. You are polishing your ego. You are polishing your bank account. You are polishing your reputation. I am getting ready to live. No, you are getting ready to die. Life is not a preparation. Life is an immediate act. It is an improvisation. There is no script. You figure it out as you dance. If you are tired of this polishing, if you feel the sadness of the unlived life, then you must stop waiting. But stopping is scary. It means you have to jump into the abyss of the now without a parachute. And this is why I am here to push you. I am not here to comfort you. Comfort puts you to sleep. I am here to disturb you. I am here to push you off the cliff of your security so you can learn that you have wings. If you appreciate this push, if you value this disturbance, you can support this channel. Click the join button to become a member of our seeker circle, or use super thanks to send energy back to the source. It keeps the fire burning. And for those who want to read these words in the quiet of their own room, our ebooks are waiting. But remember, buying the book is easy, reading it with your heart is the work. Now let us look at why you wait. Why is it so difficult to just be? Because the moment you stop waiting, the moment you stop running towards the future, you are left with yourself, and you are terrified of yourself. You have been running for so long that you have forgotten who is running. You think you are the runner, you think you are the ambition, you think you are the goal, but when you stop, all of that falls away. The identity you built, the successful man, the good mother, the spiritual seeker, it all starts to crumble. In the silence of the now, the ego begins to suffocate. The ego needs noise. It needs conflict. It needs a problem to solve. Have you noticed? If you don't have a problem, you create one. You pick a fight with your spouse. You worry about the economy. You obsess over a small pain in your knee. Why? Because the problem gives you an identity. I am the one with the problem. It gives you something to do. It keeps the mind busy. If there are no problems, if there is just pure silent space, who are you? you don't know. And that I don't know feels like death. It is death. It is the death of the false self. When you sit in deep meditation, or even when you just sit quietly watching a sunset, there comes a moment when the boundary between you and the world starts to dissolve. You forget your name. You forget your address. You forget your bank balance. For a moment, you are just a presence. You are just the seeing. You are just the breathing. And in that moment, a sudden panic rises. The mind rushes back in, screaming, "Do something! Check your phone. Think about dinner. Remember the argument." It tries to pull you back to the surface. It is like a drowning man thrashing in the water. But I tell you, drown. Let the false self drown. Let it die. Because only when the seed dies can the tree be born. Only when the ego dies can you be born. The real you, the eternal you, the one that was never born and will never die. This fear of silence is the root of all your noise. You fill your world with gadgets, with music, with chatter, with endless entertainment. We have created a civilization of noise. We are afraid of the dark. We are afraid of the empty space. But look at the universe. It is mostly empty space. The stars are few, the space is vast. Your atoms are mostly empty space. Emptiness is the nature of existence, and emptiness is not negative. In the West, empty means lacking something. If your cup is empty, it is bad. Fill it up. But in the East, in the world of Zen, empty means spacious. It means room for God. If you are full of yourself, full of your noise, full of your tomorrow, how can God enter? There is no room. You are too full. You are so full of rubbish that even if the divine knocks on your door, you will say, "Come back later. I am busy worrying about the future." Empty yourself. Be a bamboo hollow inside, so the existence can sing its song through you. That is what a flute is, a hollow bamboo. If the bamboo was full, there would be no music. You are too full of your own ego to be a flute for God. This tomorrow you cling to, it is your defense against this emptiness. It is your shield against God. You say, "Not now, God, tomorrow." St. Augustine used to pray, "Lord, make me chaste, but not yet." That is the prayer of every human being. Lord, make me free, but not yet. Let me play in the prison a little longer, because the prison is familiar. You know the walls, you know the chains, you have decorated your cell, you have put up pictures of your family, your diplomas on the cell wall. It feels cozy, freedom is unknown. Freedom is the open sky. There are no walls, there is no roof, there is no map, and the mind is terrified of the unmapped. The mind wants a GPS, it wants a guarantee. If I become enlightened, what will I get? Will I get a promotion? Will I get better sex? Will I be famous? The mind is a shopkeeper. It wants to make a deal, but you cannot make a deal with truth. You have to gamble. You have to risk everything for nothing. And when I say nothing, I mean no thing. Not a thing, but a state of pure being. You have to drop the heavy bag of the future. There is an old story about a traveler who carried a huge heavy sack on his back. He was bent over, sweating, groaning with every step. He met a Zen master on the road. The traveler asked, "Master, what is the secret of Zen?" The master didn't say a word. He simply dropped the heavy sack from his shoulder to the ground and stood up straight. The traveler watched amazed. "I understand," he said, "to drop the burden, to let go. "But Master," the traveler asked, "what is the next step?" The Master smiled, picked up the sack again and walked on. This is the whole journey. First, you must realize you are carrying a sack that you don't need to carry. The sack of tomorrow, the sack of becoming. You have been carrying it for so long you think it is part of your body like a hump on a camel. It is not a hump, it is luggage, and you can put it down right now. Just for this breath, can you put it down? Can you just be here with no destination? Feel the lightness of it. Your shoulders relax, your chest opens, the air goes deeper into your lungs. You look around and the colors are brighter. The green of the tree is greener. The blue of the sky is bluer. Why? Because the filter of tomorrow is gone. You are seeing the world naked and you are standing naked before it. This nakedness is intimacy. You crave intimacy, yet you hide behind the armor of time. You want love, but you are never present to receive it. You are always thinking about the next moment, the next kiss, the next promise. Love happens only in the now. You cannot love in the future. You cannot hug a memory. You can only hug a living being in this living moment. By postponing life, you are postponing love. You are postponing God. And the tragedy is, you think you have time. You think, I have 20 years, 30 years. How do you know? The next breath is not guaranteed. It is a gift. It is not a right. If you knew, truly knew, that this was your last day on earth, would you worry about your promotion? Would you hold a grudge against your brother? Would you fear what people think of you? No. All that nonsense would drop instantly. You would be authentic. You would be loving. You would be alive. Why wait for death to wake you up? Why not wake up now? Death is coming, yes. That is the only certainty. But death is not the enemy. Death is the friend that reminds you, don't waste time, don't waste this opportunity. Use death as an advisor, let it sit on your shoulder. When you get caught in a petty worry about tomorrow, ask death, is this important? And death will laugh and say, no. Look at the sky, look at the flower. Drink your tea, but you push death away. You hide it in hospitals, in cemeteries. You pretend it doesn't exist. And by denying death, you deny life. Because life and death are one. They are the inhalation and exhalation of the same energy. If you accept death, the fear of tomorrow disappears. Because what is the worst tomorrow can bring? Death. Okay. If you accept it, you are free. Come, death, I am ready, but while I am here, I will dance. That is the spirit of the sannyasin. That is the spirit of the true seeker. To live on the razor's edge, balancing between life and death, fully awake, fully aware, fully celebrating. We are entering a territory now that is even more subtle. We have looked at fear. We have looked at waiting. Now we must look at the mechanics of the trap itself. How the mind seduces you back into time even when you want to be free. Because the mind is very old and you are very new. The mind has millions of years of biology, of evolution, of survival instincts. It is a powerful machine, and you are just a flickering flame of consciousness. The machine wants to survive, and it survives by creating time. In the next part of this journey, I will expose the specific tricks the ego uses to pull you out of the now. The thoughts of safety, the thoughts of success, the thoughts of improvement. I will show you how the very idea of self-improvement is a trap. You don't need to improve, you need to wake up. A nightmare doesn't need to be improved, you just need to wake up from it. We will go into the psychology of the better you and see that it is just the same old ego wearing a new mask. But before we go there, I ask you to pause, take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground, look at your hands. Are they here? Yes. Are you here? Or are you already thinking about part 3? Stop. Be here. This moment is enough. It is more than enough. It is overflowing. Don't spill it by running. Drink it. If you are drinking this nectar, if you are feeling the intoxication of the present, then share this wine, share this video, like it, subscribe. Let the algorithm of the machine serve the awakening of consciousness. Join the community. Become a pillar of this temple. And remember, tomorrow never comes. Only today is, only now is, and this tomorrow is not just a place on a calendar. It is a psychological disease. It is the very foundation of the ego. The ego cannot exist in the present because the present is real, and the ego is a fiction. A fiction cannot exist in reality. Darkness cannot exist in light. So the ego must create a shadow world, a world of not yet, a world of someday. And the most cunning trick it uses to keep you in this shadow world is the idea of becoming. You are all obsessed with becoming. You want to become richer, you want to become famous, you want to become holier, you want to become enlightened. Even your spirituality is just a new form of greed. In the marketplace you wanted money. Now in the temple you want nirvana. But the mind is the same. The begging bowl is the same. You have only changed the objects of your desire. You are not satisfied with who you are. You think existence has made a mistake with you. You think, I am not enough. I must improve. And so you start this endless project of self-improvement. I say to you, you do not need improvement. You are not a house that needs renovation. You are not a machine that needs repair. You are a living being, a manifestation of the divine. Does a rose bush try to improve itself? Does it say, I am too red, I should be more pink? Does a river try to flow faster? No, they simply are. They rest in their being, and in that resting, they are perfect. But you are ashamed of yourself. You hide your true face. You wear masks. And you promise yourself that tomorrow, when you have improved, when you have meditated for 10 years, when you have purified your diet, then you will be worthy of love, then you will be worthy of God. This is the trap. God is not waiting for your improvement. Existence accepts you exactly as you are, in this very mess, in this very confusion. The moment you accept yourself, the moment you drop the idea of becoming someone else, a great transformation happens. The energy that was being wasted in conflict becomes a celebration. The ego survives on friction. It survives on the gap between who I am and who I should be. The should is the enemy. I should be less angry. I should be more loving. As long as you are fighting with your reality, you are in the ego. You are in time. You are in tomorrow. When you simply say, I am angry, this is the truth of this moment. The fight stops. The friction stops. And suddenly, without any effort, the anger begins to transform. It changes not because you forced it, but because you brought the light of awareness to it. Awareness is the only true alchemy. But the mind will not give up easily. It has 3 specific tricks to keep you running. to keep you away from this simple acceptance. The first trick is fear, thoughts of danger. Even when you are sitting in a comfortable chair, safe, warm, fed, the mind whispers something might go wrong. What if the economy crashes? What if my heart stops? What if nobody loves me? It creates a ghost, and you begin to fight the ghost. Your body releases adrenaline. You become tense. You are ready to run, but there is nowhere to run because the danger is in your head. You are fighting a shadow boxing match. You are punching the air and getting exhausted. The ego loves this. As long as you are afraid, you are manageable, you are obedient. You will follow the priest, the politician, the leader, because they promise to save you from the danger your own mind created. The second trick is the opposite of fear, but it is just as dangerous. It is thoughts of success. The mind dangles a carrot in front of you. Look at that horizon. If you reach there, you will be happy. So you run. You work hard. You sacrifice your today for that tomorrow. You get the degree, you get the job, you get the house. And for a moment, just a tiny moment, you feel good. But then the mind says, is this it? Look at the neighbor's house. It is bigger. The horizon has moved. The goalpost has shifted. Success is the greatest failure in the world. If you do not have yourself, you can gain the whole world and lose your own soul. And that is exactly what is happening. You are selling your soul for trinkets. You are selling your now for a then that never arrives. And the third trick, the most subtle of all, is thoughts of becoming. The mind says you are a seed. You must become a tree. You must grow. Yes, you are a seed, but a seed does not try to become a tree. The seed does not have a 5-year plan. The seed does not go to university to learn how to be a tree. The seed simply trusts. It drops into the soil. It surrenders to the unknown. It allows the water to crack its shell. It allows the sun to pull it upward. The growth is natural. It is spontaneous. It is effortless. Your becoming is full of effort. It is a struggle. You are pulling yourself up by your own shoelaces. You are trying to force the flower to open, and if you force a flower open, you destroy it. You kill its beauty. Let life grow you. Don't try to grow life. You need to see these tricks. You need to catch the mind in the act. There is a beautiful story about a fox. You know it, but you have never understood it deeply. The fox sees a cluster of juicy grapes hanging high on a vine. He wants them. His mouth waters. He jumps and jumps, snapping his jaws, but the grapes are just out of reach. He tries everything. He exerts all his effort, but he fails. Now the ego is hurt. The fox feels defeated. The ego cannot accept defeat. So what does the mind do? It rationalizes. The fox walks away with his nose in the air and says, "Those grapes were probably sour anyway." This is your mind. Whenever life denies you something, whenever you cannot control the future, you create a story to protect your ego. You lie to yourself. You say, "I didn't want it anyway," or "it wasn't meant to be," or "I am too spiritual for that." You cover up your failure with philosophy. You cover up your wound with words. And because you cover it up, you never look at it. You never heal. You just carry the wound into tomorrow, waiting for another chance to jump, another chance to fail, another chance to lie. Stop this game. Be honest. Authenticity is the first step towards the divine. If you are hurt, say, "I am hurt." If you are greedy, say, "I am greedy." Don't paint it over with holy words. A painted face is not a real face. God wants to see your original face, the face you had before you were born. And to find that face, you have to stop running. You have to stop fighting. Most of you are fighting your own minds. You try to stop thoughts. You try to force silence. You sit in meditation and you clench your teeth and say, I will not think. This is stupid. Who is fighting whom? It is the mind fighting the mind. It is one part of the ego trying to control another part of the ego. It is like trying to lift yourself up by standing in a bucket and pulling on the handle. You will only get a hernia. You will not get levitation. Resistance gives energy to the mind. If I tell you, do not think of a pink elephant, what happens? Immediately a pink elephant is there. Big pink swing in its trunk. The more you say no pink elephant, the more the elephant dances in your head. This is the law of the mind. What you resist persists. So do not fight the future. Do not fight the thoughts of tomorrow. Do not fight the fear. Then what should I do, Osho? I am telling you, just watch. This is the master key. This is the secret that can unlock the door of the eternal now. Witnessing Sakshi. When a thought of tomorrow comes, I need to pay the bill. Don't fight it and don't follow it. Just look at it. Say to yourself, here is a thought about the future. Look at it with no judgment. Don't say it is bad. Don't say it is good. Just see it as a cloud passing through the sky. You are the sky. The thought is the cloud. The cloud comes, the cloud stays for a while, the cloud goes. The sky is not disturbed. The sky does not say, get out of here, dark cloud. The sky allows everything, and because the sky clings to nothing, the clouds cannot stay, they pass. This distance between you and the thought, this gap is your freedom. Right now, you are glued to your thoughts. You think you are your thoughts. You say, I am worried. No, you are not. You are the awareness that is noticing the worry. The worry is an object. You are the subject. The worry is something you see. You are the seer. Separate yourself. Step back. Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river. The river is your mind. Thoughts are flowing by, trash, flowers, dead bodies, beautiful boats. Everything is flowing. You are sitting on the bank. You don't jump into the river. You don't try to stop the river. You just watch. Look, there goes a thought of anger. Look, there goes a thought of lunch. Look, there goes a thought of enlightenment. They are all just stuff floating in the water. If you can stay on the bank, suddenly you will feel a coolness. You will feel a breeze. The noise of the river is still there, but it is no longer your noise. It is just noise. And slowly, because you are not feeding the river with your attention, the river begins to dry up. The thoughts become fewer. The gaps between the thoughts become wider. And in those gaps, silence. In those gaps, the now. This is not something you have to practice for 20 years. You can do it right now. In fact, you can only do it right now. Close your eyes for a moment. Watch the next thought that comes. Wait for it like a cat, waiting for a mouse. Did you see it? Maybe it was, what is he doing? Or this is quiet. Whatever it was, you saw it. You were there before the thought, and you are there after the thought. That you, that silent watcher, is the eternal. It has no birth, it has no death, it has no tomorrow. It is always here. The ego hates this watching. The ego wants drama. The ego wants you to jump into the river and drown. It wants you to be the victim or the hero, but the witness is neither. The witness is just a mirror, and this is why the path of awareness is the path of courage. It takes courage to be a nobody, to be just a mirror. Society wants you to be a somebody, be a doctor, be a president, be a star. The ego puffs up, it gets big, it occupies space. But the bigger the balloon, the easier it is to pop, and death will pop it. The witness is a nobody, it is emptiness. You cannot pop emptiness, you cannot destroy space. When you become the witness, you become indestructible. This is the invitation. Are you ready to accept it? Are you ready to step out of the drama of time and into the reality of being? If you feel a yes rising in your heart, honor that yes. Don't let it just be a thought. Make it an action. Support this space of truth. Click the join button. It is a small act in the outer world, but it is a declaration in the inner world. It says, I stand for this. Use the super thanks to balance the energy. When you receive something valuable, give something back. It keeps the flow open. It keeps the river moving. And for those who want to carry these words with them, to drink from this well daily, our ebooks are there. But remember, the book is only a finger pointing to the moon. Don't bite the finger. Look at the moon. The moon is inside you. Now, as the witness becomes stronger, something beautiful begins to happen. The struggle disappears. You realize that you don't need to control life. You don't need to push the river. You can float. Floating is trust. Swimming is effort. When you swim, you are fighting the water. You are trying to get somewhere. When you float, you trust the water to take you where you need to go. And existence is wiser than you. It knows where you need to go. It has brought you this far, hasn't it? From a single cell in your mother's womb, without any planning on your part, it grew you into this complex, beautiful being. It beats your heart. It digests your food. It breathes your lungs. Do you do any of this? No, it happens. So why do you think you need to worry about tomorrow? If existence can manage the stars and the galaxies, if it can manage the turning of the seasons, don't you think it can manage your small life? Trust. Trust is the bridge from time to the eternal. Trust means whatever happens is good. If success comes, good. If failure comes, good. If life comes, good. If death comes, good. When you have this total yes to existence, the ego dissolves. The ego can only live in no. No, I don't want this. No, I want that. The no is the wall. The yes is the door. Say yes to this moment, even if it is painful. Say yes, I am sad. Yes, I am lonely. Yes, in that affirmation, the transformation begins. The energy is released. You are no longer divided. You become whole. And a whole person is a holy person. There is no other holiness. You don't need to go to the Himalayas. You don't need to fast. You don't need to stand on one leg. You just need to be whole here, now. But we must go deeper still, because even the witness is a step. It is a boat to cross the river. Once you cross the river, you leave the boat. You don't carry the boat on your head. That would be foolish. Beyond the witness, there is something else. There is pure being. There is the state where the watcher and the watched become one, where the observer and the observed merge. This is the ultimate mystery. This is the heart of the flower. In the next part of this talk, I will take you into that silence. The silence that is not just the absence of noise, but the presence of God. We will explore how to live in the world, how to chop wood and carry water while remaining in this absolute center. We will see how time dissolves completely when you touch the core of your existence. But for now, practice the watching. Be a spy in your own mind. Watch the thoughts of tomorrow, catch them, laugh at them. You again, the old trick. And in that laughter, you will find your freedom. And when that laughter comes, the boat is no longer needed. The river has been crossed. You step onto the shore of a new continent, a continent that has always been here but was hidden by the fog of your own mind. This continent is pure being. In the state of witnessing, there is still a subtle duality. There is the watcher and there is the watched. There is you and there is the thought. It is a necessary step, a beautiful step, but it is not the ultimate. In the ultimate, even the witness dissolves. The mirror melts into the reflection. The drop slips into the ocean. You are no longer watching the silence, you become the silence. This is the state I call no mind. This is the state where the clock stops completely. When you enter this space of pure being, you realize that time was never a reality outside of you. It was a projection of your own restlessness. When you are at rest, absolute rest, time evaporates. There is no yesterday, no tomorrow. There is only a vast expanding now. And this now is not empty in the negative sense. It is not a void of nothingness. It is a void of everythingness. It is pregnant with the whole cosmos. In this silence, you are not dead, you are more alive than you have ever been. You are vibrating with the pulse of existence itself. Most people are afraid of this silence. They think silence is the absence of sound. No, that is a very poor definition. Silence is a presence. It is a force. When you walk into a forest, is it empty? No, it is full. It is full of life, full of trees, full of hidden movements. But there is a silence underneath it all. When you walk into an old temple, you can feel the silence hitting you like a physical wave. That silence has been accumulated for centuries by meditators, by seekers. It is a tangible energy. You have to cultivate this silence inside you. And you don't cultivate it by forcing the noise to stop. You cultivate it by falling in love with the space between the noises. Between two thoughts, there is a gap. Between two breaths, there is a gap. Between two heartbeats, there is a gap. That gap is the door. That gap is the now. The mind ignores the gap. The mind jumps from thought to thought, like a monkey jumping from branch to branch. It never looks at the sky between the branches, but the sky is the reality, the branches are just accidents. I want you to shift your focus. Instead of looking at the figure, look at the background. Instead of looking at the thought, look at the consciousness in which the thought is floating. When you do this, a sudden shift happens. It is like an optical illusion. You are seeing the old woman, and suddenly you see the young girl. You are seeing the noise, and suddenly you hear the silence. And in that silence, there is no fear. There is no hope. There is only a deep, profound trust. Now you ask me, Osho, this sounds beautiful, but I have to live in the world. I have to go to the office. I have to cook for my children. I have to deal with the traffic. How can I live in this no mind when the world is so noisy? This is the most important question, because my message is not to escape to the Himalayas. If you go to the Himalayas, you will just take your noisy mind with you. You will sit in a cave, but your head will be in the marketplace. You will be thinking about what you are missing, what your friends are doing. You will be miserable in the cave, just as you are miserable in the office. The problem is not the geography. The problem is the psychology. Zen masters have a saying, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The action is the same. The wood is the same. The water is the same. But the person is different. Before, when you chopped wood, you were thinking about the fire. You were thinking about the dinner. You were thinking about the cold. You were complaining about the weight of the axe. You were not chopping wood. You were chopping your own thoughts. After enlightenment, when you chop wood, you just chop wood. There is only the chopping. The axe goes up, the axe comes down. The sound of the wood splitting echoes in the valley. There is no chopper inside. There is no thinker inside. There is pure action. This is what I mean by living in the now. When you are driving your car, just drive. Don't be in the meeting that is going to happen in an hour. Don't be in the argument you had with your wife this morning. Feel the steering wheel, feel the vibration of the engine. See the road, be the driving. If you can do this, the traffic will not frustrate you. The red light will not be an enemy. It will be a pause, a moment to breathe. The world becomes a meditation. You don't need a separate time for meditation. I will meditate from 6 to 7. That is nonsense. If you meditate for 1 hour and then remain angry for 23 hours, the anger will win. The anger is 23 times stronger. Meditation must become like your breathing. It must be there in the background, whatever you are doing. Whether you are counting money, making love, taking a shower, the silence must be the undercurrent. This is the art of being in the world, but not of it. Like a lotus flower in the water. The lotus grows in the mud, it lives in the water, but the water does not touch it. If you pour water on a lotus leaf, it slips off. The leaf remains dry. Be like the lotus, live in the marketplace, but don't let the marketplace enter you. Keep your inner sanctuary virgin, untouched. And the only way to keep it untouched is to stay in the present. The marketplace enters you through your memory of the past and your desire for the future. If you have no past and no future, the marketplace cannot touch you. You are transparent. The noise passes through you, but it doesn't stick. This transparency is power. It is not weakness. A mirror is not weak because it reflects everything. It is strong because it holds on to nothing. When you live this way, your actions have a different quality. They have grace, they have beauty. You are not dragging yourself through life, you are dancing through it. And people will notice, they will see that your eyes are different. They will see that you are not rushing. They will feel a peace radiating from you. You will become a magnet, not because you are trying to attract people, but because everyone is thirsty for this silence. Everyone is burning in the fire of time, and you have become a cool breeze. But be careful. The ego is very cunning. It can even use this silence to build a new identity. It can say, look at me, I am so silent, I am so spiritual, I am better than these noisy people. The moment you think I am silent, the silence is gone. The noise has returned. The I is the noise. True silence is the absence of the I. You are not there to enjoy it. There is just enjoyment. There is just peace, but nobody to claim it. This is difficult for the mind to grasp. The mind always wants to be the owner. My house, my car, my silence, my enlightenment. You cannot own enlightenment. Enlightenment owns you. You have to disappear for it to happen. You have to make space. And how do you make space? By dropping the luggage of tomorrow, by dropping the luggage of yesterday, by standing naked in this moment. If you are ready to stand naked, if you are ready to drop the mask, then you are a true sannyasin. You are a true seeker. And this seeking needs a community. It needs a field of energy where you can be supported. That is why we are here. That is why this channel exists, to create a digital Buddha field. If you feel the pulse of this field, if you feel the truth of these words resonating in your bones, then take a step. Join us, click the button. It is a small gesture, but it says to the universe, I am ready. Use the super thanks to pour your gratitude into the river. Gratitude is the highest prayer. When you are grateful, you are close to the divine. And for those who want to deepen their understanding, who want to read the maps of consciousness I have laid out, the e-books are there. They are maps. But remember, the map is not the territory. You have to walk the path yourself. Now, let us go deeper into this pure being. When the ego dissolves, when the time dissolves, what remains? Love remains, but not the love you know. Your love is a transaction. It is a business deal. I love you if you love me. I love you if you behave nicely. It is full of conditions. It is fragile. It turns into hate in a second. The love I am talking about is not a relationship. It is a state of being. When you are in the now, you are love. You don't love someone specifically. You just radiate love, like a lamp radiates light. The lamp does not say, I will shine only for this person, not for that person. No, it shines for everyone. It shines for the sinner and the saint. It shines for the king and the beggar. It has no choice. It is its nature. When you are silent, when you are present, your nature becomes love. You look at a tree and there is love. You look at a rock and there is love. You look at a stranger and there is love. Because in the silence of the now, you see that everything is connected. You see that the tree, the rock, the stranger, they are all expressions of the same life force that is breathing in you. The illusion of separation is created by time. Time says, I was born here, you were born there. I am old, you are young. Time creates distance. The now destroys distance. In the now we are one. Your breath is my breath. Your heart is my heart. This oneness is the source of all compassion. You cannot hurt anyone when you know they are part of you. You cannot deceive anyone when you know they are your own reflection. Morality comes from this understanding. It does not come from commandments. It does not come from fear of hell. It comes from the sensitivity of the present moment. If you are fully present, you will never do harm, because harm is ugly and presence is beauty. The two cannot exist together, so I don't give you commandments. I don't say do this, don't do that. I say be aware, be present, and let your life flow from that center. Whatever comes out of awareness is virtue. Whatever comes out of unconsciousness is sin. Sin is not disobeying a rule. Sin is acting in your sleep. Sin is acting out of the past or the future. Virtue is acting awake. Virtue is responding to the now. Let me tell you a story. A Zen master was walking with his disciple. They came to a river. A beautiful woman was standing there, afraid to cross because the current was strong. The monk, without hesitation, picked her up, carried her across the river, put her down, and walked on. The disciple was shocked. Monks are not supposed to touch women. He was boiling inside. He couldn't stop thinking about it. He was judging the master. He was replaying the scene in his head. Miles later, he couldn't hold it anymore. He burst out, "Master, we are monks. We are forbidden to touch women. How could you carry her?" The master stopped, looked at him with great compassion and said, "I put her down miles ago at the river bank. Are you still carrying her?" This is the difference between living in the now and living in the mind. The master acted in the moment. The situation required help. He gave help, then it was over. He dropped it, he didn't carry it. The disciple didn't act. He reacted and he carried the memory. He carried the past. He was heavy with the past. Who was the real sinner? The master who touched the woman, or the disciple who carried her in his mind for miles? The mind is the carrier. The mind is the beast of burden. It carries insults, it carries guilt, it carries failures. Drop the burden, put the woman down, put the past down, put the future down. Walk light. Life is a journey, and you cannot travel far if you are carrying a mountain on your back. But Osho, how do I drop it? Again you ask, how? The how is the mind asking for a method. The mind loves methods because methods are in the future. If I practice this method for 3 years, I will be free. No. Dropping is instant. It is like seeing a burning coal in your hand. Do you ask, how do I drop this coal? Do you go to a guru to learn the method of dropping coals? No. The moment you feel the burn, the hand opens, the coal falls. It is immediate intelligence. If you are still carrying your past, it is because you haven't realized it is burning you. You think it is gold. You think your memories are precious treasures. They are not treasures, they are coals. They are burning your life energy. Wake up, feel the burn. Look at your anxiety, it burns. Look at your jealousy, it burns. Look at your waiting, it burns. When you truly feel the pain of it, you will drop it. You won't ask how. This is the beauty of pain. Pain is a teacher. Pain tells you you are holding on to something false. If you put your hand in the fire, pain says, move your hand. If you live in the future, suffering says, move your mind. Come back to the present. But you numb the pain, you take drugs, you drink alcohol, you watch movies, you go to church. You do everything to avoid feeling the burn. I say, feel it. Go into it. Let the suffering wake you up. Suffering has a purpose. It is the hammer that breaks the shell of the ego. Don't run from your misery. Watch it, understand it. See its root. And the root is always the same, time. The root is always, I want things to be different than they are. Acceptance is the water that puts out the fire. Radical acceptance. This moment is as it is. The rain is falling. The dog is barking. The knee is hurting. The bank account is low. It is as it is. When you fight it, you create hell. When you accept it, a sudden peace descends. You are no longer in conflict with the universe. You are flowing with it, and in that flow, solutions arise. In that flow, creativity arises. When you are panicked, you are stupid. Fear makes you stupid. Fear makes you stupid. When you are calm, when you are present, you have access to the universal intelligence. You know what to do. The right action arises spontaneously. So living in the now is not just a spiritual luxury. It is the only way to live sanely. It is the only way to be intelligent. If you want to be a genius, be present. If you want to be an artist of life, be present. The canvas is this moment. The brush is your awareness. Paint something beautiful. Don't paint the gray shadows of tomorrow. Paint the vibrant colors of today. We are coming close to the end of our time together, but not the end of the journey. The journey has no end. In the final part of this talk, I want to take you to the peak. We have talked about the trap. We have talked about the escape. We have talked about the silence. Now we must talk about the celebration, because silence is not enough. Silence can be dry. Silence can be cold. Silence must dance. Silence must sing. The ultimate flower of consciousness is celebration. It is not just about being peaceful, it is about being ecstatic. It is about turning your life into a festival. I will show you how the death of tomorrow leads to the birth of a new laughter. A laughter that shakes the very foundations of the earth. A laughter that says yes to everything. But for now, sit in your silence. Let the words I have spoken settle in your heart like seeds. Don't think about them. Don't analyze them. Let them sink in. Water them with your attention and watch what grows. If you are feeling the growth, if you are feeling the green shoots of a new life, then nourish this space. Subscribe, like, share. These are the ways of the modern world to say, I am here. Support the channel with join or super thanks. It is your contribution to the global awakening. And dive into the ebooks if you are thirsty for more. But above all, be here. Just be here. And when you begin to celebrate, when you begin to laugh, you touch the very fringe of the divine. But do not think the journey ends here. The mind is a labyrinth deeper and more twisted than you can imagine. We have only cleared the surface weeds. The roots go down into the very geology of your soul. Now, we must confront a very uncomfortable truth. A truth that explains why you find it so difficult to stay in this celebration. Why you find it so hard to remain in the prat. Now, even when you know it is the only place of peace, we must look at the phenomenon of boredom. You are terrified of being bored. Have you noticed? The moment there is nothing to do, the moment the external world stops entertaining you, a panic rises. You reach for your phone, you switch on the television, you call a friend, you open the refrigerator. You have to do something. Why? Because in that gap of non-doing, you feel a deep, dark abyss opening up. That abyss is boredom. And society has taught you that boredom is wrong. It has taught you that if you are bored, you are wasting time. I say to you, boredom is one of the most significant spiritual doors you will ever encounter. But you never enter it. You escape from it. The mind invents tomorrow specifically to escape boredom. The mind says, this moment is dull, this moment is empty, but tomorrow brings excitement, tomorrow brings the holiday, tomorrow brings the lover, tomorrow brings the revolution. So you skip over the present moment because it feels flat, and you jump into the colorful fantasy of the future. But listen closely, what you call boredom is simply your own lack of awareness. If you are truly aware there is no such thing as boredom, look at a Zen monk sitting facing a white wall for 10 years. 10 years, just a white wall. Nothing changes. The wall does not dance. The wall does not sing. To you, this would be torture. To you, this would be hell. You would go crazy within 24 hours. But look at the monk's face. He is radiant. He is blissful. Why? Because he is not looking at the wall. He is looking from his center. And when you look from the center, even a white wall becomes a psychedelic experience. Even the texture of the plaster becomes a universe of patterns. Boredom is just the surface tension of your own repressed energy. You are bored because you have lost contact with your own life force. You are living second hand. You are living through movies, through books, through other people's stories. You are a spectator, not a participant, and spectators get bored. Participants never get bored. If you are dancing, are you bored? If you are making love totally, intensely, are you bored? If you are facing a tiger in the jungle, are you bored? No. You are intensely alive. The time disappears. The tomorrow disappears. So the secret is intensity. And how do you bring intensity to a simple act like sitting in a chair? By dropping the mind. The mind is the filter that makes everything dull. The mind labels everything. It says, this is a chair. I know what a chair is. I have sat in thousands of chairs. It is boring. The mind is a dusty old professor. It thinks it knows everything, but it knows nothing. It only knows labels. Drop the label. Forget the word chair. Feel the sensation of the wood against your spine. Feel the gravity pulling you down. Feel the temperature of the material. Suddenly, it is not a chair anymore. It is a unique physical experience happening right now. It is fresh. It is new. This is the rebelliousness of the meditator. Society wants you to be bored. Why? Because if you are bored, you consume. A bored person buys things. A bored person needs a new car, a new house, a new gadget. A bored person needs entertainment. The whole economy of the world depends on your boredom. If everyone was ecstatic just sitting under a tree, who would buy the fancy clothes? Who would pay for the expensive holidays? The economy would collapse. So they keep you bored. They keep you shallow. They give you just enough to survive, but not enough to feel alive. And then they sell you tomorrow as the product that will cure your boredom. Buy this now, pay later. Work now, retire later. It is always later. I want you to be a rebel. But my rebel is not the one who throws stones at the police station. That is just a reaction. That is just stupidity. My rebel is the one who throws away his own boredom. My rebel is the one who finds ecstasy in the ordinary. My rebel is the one who destroys the illusion of tomorrow by living so totally today that no tomorrow is needed. This rebellious spirit is what we are cultivating here. This is not a Sunday school. This is a laboratory of transformation. If you want to be part of this experiment, if you want to support this rebellion against the sleep of humanity, then click the join button, become a member of this energetic field, or use super thanks to throw your energy into the fire. It is not a donation, it is a participation. And if you want to arm yourself with the weapons of awareness, read the e-books. They are manuals for the inner revolution. Now, let us go deeper into this escape into the future. You use the future not only to escape boredom, but to escape responsibility. This is a hard pill to swallow. You think you are responsible people. You have jobs, you pay taxes, you take care of your families. But I say to you, spiritually you are irresponsible. Why? Because you put the responsibility for your being onto time. You say, I am angry because of my childhood. That is the past. You say, I will be happy when I get that promotion. That is the future. In both cases, you are not here. You have outsourced your center. You have made yourself a victim of time. To be in the now means to take total, radical responsibility for your state of being. If you are miserable right now, it is not because of your wife. It is not because of your boss. It is not because of the economy. It is because you are choosing to be unconscious right now. This hurts. I know it hurts. The ego hates this. The ego loves to blame. It is her fault. It is the government's fault. Blaming is easy. Taking responsibility is austere. But the moment you say, I am responsible for my misery, you also gain the power to change it. If you are creating it, you can stop creating it. If it is the other's fault, you are helpless. You have to wait for them to change, and they will never change. Why should they? They are busy blaming you. It is a circle of madness. Step out of the circle. Look at your misery. Look at your anxiety about tomorrow and say, I am doing this. I am creating this ghost. The moment you see that you are the creator, you can stop. It is like you are pinching yourself. You are pinching your own arm and crying, it hurts. It hurts. Why is life so painful? And I say, stop pinching yourself. And you ask, but how? Give me a method to stop pinching. I say, just look. Your hand is doing it. The mind creates the pinch of tomorrow. The mind creates the pinch of ambition. The mind creates the pinch of guilt. Guilt is a very heavy stone. And guilt is always about the past. I should have done that. I shouldn't have said that. Listen to me. The past is dust. It is gone. You cannot change a single comma in the book of the past. By carrying guilt, you are polluting the present moment. You are bringing the smell of a dead body into your living room. Drop the guilt. Whatever happened, happened. It was the only thing that could happen given your level of consciousness at that time. Forgive yourself, but don't forgive yourself in the future. I will forgive myself next week. No. Forgive yourself now. Take a deep breath. Exhale the past. It is finished. You are new. In this second, you are innocent. Every breath is a rebirth. But you don't accept the rebirth. You cling to the old skeleton. There is a story of a great king who conquered many lands. He was obsessed with the future, always planning the next war, the next victory. One day, he met a Sufi mystic. The mystic was sitting by the river, throwing stones into the water. Laughing, the king stopped. He was annoyed. Why are you laughing like a madman? He asked. Don't you know I am the great king? The mystic looked up and said, I am laughing because I am trying to catch the river. But every time I grab it, it flows through my fingers. And yet the river is always here. The king said, You are a fool. You cannot catch a river. The mystic smiled. And you, your majesty, are you not trying to catch time? Are you not trying to conquer the future? Can you hold tomorrow in your hand? Can you put it in your treasury? The king was silenced. For the first time, he saw the absurdity of his whole life. He had conquered space, but he was a slave to time. And the mystic said, Sit, throw a stone, watch the ripples. This is the only kingdom that matters. You are all kings trying to catch the river. You are trying to secure your future. I need insurance. I need a pension. I need a guarantee. There is no guarantee. Life is insecure. That is the only guarantee. You could walk out of your house today and a brick could fall on your head. Finished. all your plans, all your worries, all your insurance policies finished. Does this make you sad? It should make you free. If there is no security, there is no need to worry. If you are falling from a cliff, why worry? Enjoy the wind. You are going to hit the bottom anyway. Screaming won't help. Worrying won't give you wings. But if you can enjoy the fall, if you can marvel at the view while you are falling, that is the way of the mystic. We are all falling from birth to death. It is a free fall. But the mind tries to grab onto branches. It tries to stop the fall. Let me hold on to this job. Let me hold on to this relationship. You just scratch your hands. You just create pain. Let go. Let go of the branch. Trust the gravity of existence. It knows where you are going. It is taking you back to the source. And when you let go, when you stop fighting the current of time, a strange thing happens. You realize that you are not moving at all. The world is moving. Time is moving. Events are moving. But you, the witness, the center, are absolutely still. It is like the wheel of a cart. The rim moves fast. The spokes move fast. But the center of the axle, it does not move. If the center moved, the wheel would collapse. You are the axle. Your thoughts are the rim. They are spinning. Tomorrow, yesterday, round and round. Find the axle. Find the spot inside you that has never moved since you were born. When you were a child, you had a certain sense of I am. When you were a teenager, your body changed, your mind changed. But that sense of I am was the same. Now you are older. Your face has wrinkles. Your opinions have changed. But the I am is exactly the same. That I am is the doorway to the eternal. It is not in time. It is not of time. But you rarely visit this place. You live on the rim. You live in the cyclone. And you get dizzy. You get nauseous. You call it stress. Stress is nothing but the dizziness of living on the rim of the wheel. Come to the center. And how do you come to the center? By accepting the present moment totally, because the center is always now, the rim is always then. When you reject the present, when you say, I don't like this, I want something else, you are pushed out to the rim. When you accept the present, this is it, and it is beautiful, you are pulled into the center. It is a magnetic law. Acceptance centers you. Resistance scatters you. I am giving you the physics of the soul. It is as precise as Newton's laws, but you have to apply it. You have to experiment with it. The next time you are stuck in traffic and the anger rises and the mind says, I should be home. I am late. This is terrible. Watch how you are pushed out to the rim. Watch the stress. Watch the heartbeat. Then try the experiment. Take a breath. Say, I am here. The cars are here. This is the reality. I accept it. Suddenly the tension drops. You settle back into the seat. You look out the window. You see a cloud. You see a child in the next car laughing. You have returned to the center. The traffic hasn't changed. You have changed. And that is the only change that matters. We are going to go even deeper into this. We are going to explore how this applies to your relationships, your love life, your creativity, because the ego uses tomorrow to destroy love more than anything else. I will love you forever. Have you heard this lie? Have you told this lie? How can you promise forever? You don't even own the next minute. When you say, I will love you forever, you are creating a fake future. And then when the feeling changes tomorrow, because feelings are clouds, they always change. You feel guilty. You feel like a hypocrite. or you force yourself to pretend you still love, which is even worse. Love can only be true if it is in the now. I love you now. That is truth. I love you forever. That is poetry or politics, but it is not truth. In the next part, we will dissect the corpse of romantic love and see if we can find the living seed of real love, the love that knows no time, the love that does not bargain. But for now, sit with this concept of the wheel. Are you on the rim, or are you at the axle? Are you spinning, or are you watching? The choice is yours. Every single moment, the choice is yours. And remember, this choice requires energy. It requires a certain fire. If you are lukewarm, if you are lazy, you will drift back to the rim. The centrifugal force of society is strong. It wants to throw you out. You need centrifugal force. You need the force that pulls you in. That force is awareness. That force is satsang, being in the company of truth. Stay close to the fire. Support the fire. If you feel the warmth, click join. Add your log to the fire. Use super thanks to fan the flames. Read the ebooks to understand the nature of the fire. But whatever you do not go back into the cold. Do not go back to sleep. The night is dark and the jungle is full of predators, predators of time, predators of fear. Keep your torch burning. We will continue this surgery. We will continue to peel the onion. And yes, peeling an onion makes you cry. Tears will come. Let them come. Tears are cleansing. Tears are the melting of the ice. When you cry for the wasted years, when you cry for the false life you have lived, those tears are holy. They are watering the seeds of your new being. So let us move forward, not into tomorrow, but into the deeper layers of today, into the heart of the mystery. And so we arrive at the most misunderstood word in your language, the most abused word in your history, and yet the only word that can save you, love. You think you know what love is. You listen to songs about it. You watch movies about it. You write poems about it. But I say to you, you know nothing of love. What you call love is just a biological fever. It is a chemical trick nature plays on you to reproduce, or it is a psychological crutch you use to avoid being alone. Real love, the love that liberates, can only happen in the now. But your love is always about the future. Will you love me tomorrow? Will you be with me forever? Look at the absurdity. You are asking for a guarantee. You are asking for an insurance policy. Love is a flower. It is delicate, it is fragile, it blooms in the morning, and by evening it may be gone. That is its beauty. Because it is fragile, it is precious. But you want a plastic flower. Plastic flowers are guaranteed. They last forever. You can wash them, you can dust them, but they have no fragrance. They have no soul. Your marriage vows are plastic flowers. Until death do us part. You are killing the love on the very first day by binding it with a chain of forever. How can you promise how you will feel 10 years from now? You don't even know how you will feel 10 minutes from now. To promise the future is to lie. And because you have promised, you have to pretend. 10 years later, the love is gone. Because love is a breeze, it comes and goes as it pleases, but the promise remains. So you pretend, you act, you kiss your wife, but there is no passion. You hug your husband, but you are thinking of the grocery list. You become actors. Your home becomes a theater. And you think your children don't know. Children are very intuitive. They know when the energy is dead. They know when you are faking it. And so they learn that love is a duty, a burden, a lie. And they repeat the same misery in their own lives. I want to break this chain. Love is not a contract. Love is a state of being. If you are in the now, you are loving. Not loving someone, just loving. Like a lamp. The lamp does not say, I will only give light if a beautiful person enters the room. No. The lamp simply shines. If a thief enters, it shines. If a saint enters, it shines. If the room is empty, it shines. Be a lamp. When you are full of the present moment, you overflow. That overflowing is love. It doesn't matter who receives it. The object is secondary, the subject is primary. But you are beggars. You go to the other person with a begging bowl, please give me love, please make me feel valuable, please fill my emptiness. And the other person is also a beggar. He is coming to you with his bowl. Two beggars holding hands. What do you think will happen? Disappointment, misery, conflict. You will both pull and neither will give, because neither has anything to give. You are both empty. First, fill yourself. And you can only fill yourself with the now. When you are full of silence, full of joy, full of presence, then you don't need a relationship, and that is the miracle. When you don't need it, it happens beautifully. When you don't need the other, you can enjoy the other. Need kills love, freedom gives it life. Give freedom to your partner. Say to them, I love you in this moment, I cannot speak for the next. Let us dance now. If the dance continues tomorrow, good. If it stops, good. We will be grateful for what was. This takes courage. It takes guts. It is easy to cling. It is hard to let go. But in the letting go, you become an individual. You become integrated. And this brings us to the difference between loneliness and aloneness. You run into relationships because you are lonely. Loneliness is a sickness. Loneliness means you are missing the other. Loneliness means you are incomplete. You are a half circle trying to find another half circle to become whole. But two half circles don't make a whole, they just make a messy shape. Aloneness is health. Aloneness means you are complete. You are a full circle. You are enjoying your own company. If you cannot enjoy your own company, who else is going to enjoy it? If you are bored with yourself, everyone else will be bored with you. The meditator learns how to be alone. He learns how to sit by the river and feel not lonely but all one, connected to the whole. When you are in this state of aloneness, you can move into a relationship without addiction. You share your fullness, you don't take, you give. And when two alone people meet, that is the highest form of relationship. Two kings meeting, two queens meeting, not two beggars. They celebrate together. They create something higher than both of them. But they remain free. Their pillars stand apart even while supporting the same roof. This is the Tantra of the now. But society hates this. Society wants you to be dependent. The church wants you to be dependent on the priest. The state wants you to be dependent on the leader. The husband wants the wife to be dependent on him. Dependency is control, and the ego loves control. The ego says, she is my wife, my. Look at the possessiveness. You think you can own a human being. You cannot even own a cat. A cat pretends to be yours, but it is its own master. When you try to possess, you kill the person. You turn them into a thing, an object, a piece of furniture. And then you wonder why the romance is dead. You killed it. Romance needs mystery. Romance needs the unknown. If you know your wife completely, if she is just a predictable machine in your house, where is the mystery? But if you look at her with the eyes of the now, she is a stranger. Every morning, wake up and look at your partner as if you are seeing them for the first time. Because you are seeing them for the first time. They have changed during the night. Their cells have changed. Their dreams have changed. They are not the same person who went to sleep. Do not project the past onto them. Do not say, "Oh, I know her. She always does this." No, look fresh. Maybe today she will do something different. Give her the space to be different. When you give space, love grows. When you crowd, love suffocates. I am teaching you a very dangerous kind of love. A love that destroys the ego. People think love strengthens the ego. She chose me. I must be special. No, real love destroys you. It melts you. Kabir, the great mystic, says the lane of love is very narrow. There is only room for one. Either you exist or love exists. Both cannot exist together. If you are full of I, there is no room for love. When the I disappears in the silence of the present, love rushes in like a flood. It is not your love. It is God's love. It is the universe's love. You are just the channel. And this love has no tomorrow. It is timeless. A single moment of this love is worth a whole eternity of your ordinary lukewarm affection. Are you ready to be burned by this love? Are you ready to be consumed? Most of you are not. You want a safe love. You want a comfortable love. You want a love that fits in your living room. But love is a wildfire. If you invite it in, it will burn your furniture. It will burn your walls. It will burn your roof. And then under the open sky you will dance. If you are brave enough for this fire, then stay with me. This channel is a gathering of the brave. It is not for the cowards. The cowards are in the churches praying for safety. We are here dancing on the edge of the volcano. If you like the heat, click join. Become a fire walker. If you want to feed the flames, use super thanks. If you want to understand the physics of this fire, read the books. But remember, reading about fire will not burn you. You have to jump in. And now let us look at the greatest enemy of this love, expectation. Expectation is the illegitimate child of tomorrow. You do something for someone, and immediately the mind creates a contract. I did this, so they must do that. I smiled, so they must smile back. I gave a gift, so they must say thank you. You are a businessman, not a lover. You are keeping accounts. Drop the account book. Love is not a trade. If you give because it is a joy to give, then the act is finished. If they say thank you, good. If they don't, good. You didn't do it for the thanks. You did it for the joy of giving. When you have zero expectation, you can never be disappointed. Think about it. Who can hurt you? Only the person you have expectations of. Strangers cannot hurt you. If a stranger on the street ignores you, you don't care. But if your husband ignores you, you cry. Why? Because of the expectation. He should look at me. Remove the should, accept the is. He is reading the newspaper. That is the essence of this moment. Why fight it? Why create a drama? Go and dance. Go and sing. When he sees you happy without him, he will drop the newspaper. He will become curious. What is happening? How can she be happy without my attention? And he will come to you. Happiness is attractive. Misery is repellent. You try to attract people with your misery. Look how sad I am. Please comfort me. You act like a beggar and you attract other beggars. Be an emperor, be happy for no reason, and then the whole world will come to you. But Osho, you say, this is very hard. My habits are deep. Yes, the habits are deep. They are grooves in your brain carved by millions of years of evolution. But you are not your brain, you are the watcher of the brain. When the expectation arises, watch it. Look, I am expecting him to call. Don't judge it, just see it. I am creating a future where he calls. And if he doesn't, I will create a future where I am angry. See the mechanism. It is a machine. You are not the machine. Step out. Take a breath. Come back to the sensation of your body. Is there any pain right now? No. The pain is only in the story of he didn't call. Drop the story. The pain disappears. It is magic. It is pure magic. But you have to do the trick. I cannot do it for you. I can only show you how. And the trick is always the same. Return to the now. The now is the solvent. It dissolves the glue of the ego. And what happens when you live this way? You become creative. Love and creativity are the same energy. When you love someone, you create a beautiful atmosphere. When you paint a picture, you are loving the canvas. A person who lives in the now cannot be destructive. He can only be creative, because creation happens in the present. Destruction happens out of the past, revenge or the future, fear. If you want to be a creator, you have to be here. Look at a painter. When he is painting, he forgets the world. He forgets his hunger. He forgets time. He is in a trance of the now. That is why art is so therapeutic. It forces you into the present. But you don't need to be a Picasso. You can cook with creativity. You can clean with creativity. Creativity means doing something with total love. If you sweep the floor with love, it is a painting. If you paint a masterpiece for money, for the future, it is just sweeping the floor. The quality of your consciousness determines the quality of your act. So, my message to you is not to change your actions, but to change your quality. Don't leave your family, don't leave your job, just bring a new quality to it. The quality of no tomorrow. Hug your child as if this is the last hug. Write your email as if this is your last message to the world. Make it beautiful, make it total, and then you will see that your ordinary life becomes a temple. You don't need to go to Mecca or Jerusalem. Your kitchen is the holiest place on earth. If you are present in it, we are moving towards the climax of this journey. We have looked at the mind, the ego, the emotions, the relationships. In the next part, we must face the ultimate gate, the gate that everyone fears, but the gate that holds the final secret, death. Not death as a tragedy, but death as a climax, death as the crescendo of the symphony. If you can learn to die in the now, you will learn to live forever, not as a body but as consciousness. We will explore the art of dying, because until you learn how to die, you don't know how to live. But before we go there, I want you to practice this love without tomorrow, just for today. Look at your dog, your cat, your partner, your tree. Love them without asking for anything back, without promising anything for later, just a pure flash of energy, and see what happens. You will feel a lightness, you will feel a freedom, you will feel that you have wings. And if you find your wings, don't fly away alone, fly with us. This Sangha is a flock of birds flying towards the sun. Join the formation. Your presence makes the flight stronger. And remember, the sky is not out there. The sky is in here. in the silence of your own heart. And so we stand before the great gate. The gate that humanity has spent thousands of years trying to hide, trying to paint over, trying to ignore. Death. You tremble just hearing the word. Watch your body, there is a contraction. The breath becomes shallow. Why? Because you have been taught that death is the enemy of life. You have been taught that death is the end, a full stop, a dark abyss where everything you are is extinguished. I say to you, this is the greatest lie ever told. Death is not the opposite of life. Death is the climax of life. Life is the pilgrimage. Death is the arrival. Life is the river. Death is the ocean. Does the river fear the ocean? It might in the beginning because it thinks, I will lose my banks, I will lose my name, I will lose my form. But the moment it enters the ocean, it realizes, I am not losing anything. I am becoming vast. I am becoming the ocean itself. You are that river, and your fear of death is simply the fear of losing your small, tiny, ego-bound identity. You are clinging to a small mud puddle when the whole ocean is waiting for you. Why does the mind fear death so much? Because the mind is time, and death is the end of time. The mind lives in the future. I will do this, I will become that. Death comes and says, no more becoming, no more tomorrow. To the ego, this is a catastrophe. To the soul, this is liberation. If you live in the now, death is not a problem, because in the now, you are already touching the eternal. You are touching that which cannot die. The body will die, it is just clothes. The mind will die, it is just software. But the witness, the one who is looking through your eyes right now, that witness has no birth and no death. It was there before your parents met, and it will be there after your body is dust. But you don't know this witness, you only know your clothes, you only know your name, and that is why you are shaking. I want to teach you the art of dying. And this is not something you do at the end of your life in a hospital bed. If you wait until then, it is too late. You will be too weak, too drugged, too afraid. The art of dying must be practiced every single day. How? By dying to the past every moment. Look at your day. You carry the morning into the afternoon. You carry the afternoon into the evening. You carry the anger from the office into the bedroom. You are a collector of dead things. Stop collecting. When the moment is over, let it die. Did you argue with someone? It is finished. Die to it. Don't carry the corpse of the argument. Did you succeed at something? It is finished. Die to it. Don't carry the heavy trophy of success. Be empty. If you can die to the past every moment, you are born anew every moment. You are fresh, you are young. This is the secret of eternal youth. Not plastic surgery, not creams, not vitamins. The secret is, do not carry the past. A person who carries 50 years of memories on his face looks old. His eyes are dull because they are covered in dust. A person who lives in the now has eyes like a child, clear, deep, because there is no dust. He dies every second, and because he dies every second, he is resurrected every second. This is the meaning of the resurrection of Jesus. It is not a historical event that happened once to one man. It is a metaphor for the spiritual life. You must be crucified, your ego must be crucified, so that your spirit can be resurrected. But you protect the ego, you build armor around it, You buy insurance for it, and in doing so you miss the resurrection. You remain a corpse walking around pretending to be alive. Look at how you treat death in your society. You hide it, you put cemeteries outside the city, you put dying people in sterile rooms with machines away from the children, you put makeup on the dead body to make it look asleep. What a deception. You are so afraid that you cannot even look at the reality. In the ancient days in the East, death was a celebration. When a mystic died, there was dancing, there was music. Why? Because the bird has flown from the cage is broken, and the sky is open. Why cry? You should cry when a child is born, because he is entering the cage of the body, the cage of society. He is entering a prison. But when he leaves, celebrate. He is going home. But you cry. You cry not for him. You cry for yourself. I will be lonely. I will miss him. Your tears are selfish. If you truly loved him, you would be happy that his suffering is over, that his limitation is gone. I want you to bring death back into your life, not as a morbidity, but as a guest. Put a skull on your desk. Let it remind you, I am temporary. When you know you are temporary, you don't waste time on nonsense. You don't waste time on petty fights. You don't waste time on greed. If you have only 1 hour to live, will you worry about your bank account? Will you worry about what the neighbor said? No. You will look at the stars. You will hug your beloved. You will breathe. Death brings intensity. Death brings clarity. Death is the only thing that can wake you up from your slumber. That is why I say, if there is no tomorrow, death is always here. And if death is here, life becomes urgent. Life becomes a flame. Most of you are lukewarm. You are neither hot nor cold. You are just dragging yourself through existence. I will do it later. I will love later. I will meditate later. And then death comes and knocks on the door and says, time is up. And you say, but I haven't started yet. Give me more time. And death says, you had 70 years. You wasted them in waiting. Now no more waiting. Don't be in that position. Live so totally that when death comes, you can say, welcome. I am ready. I have squeezed every drop of juice from the fruit. I am satisfied. Only a satisfied person can die peacefully. A dissatisfied person dies in agony, clinging, scratching at the walls. This satisfaction, where does it come from? It comes from being, not from having. You can have the whole world and be dissatisfied. Look at Alexander the Great. He conquered the world, but he died empty. He asked his doctors, give me just 1 more day. I want to see my mother. They said, we cannot give you 1 more breath. Alexander said, I will give you half my kingdom. They said, no. I will give you my whole kingdom. They said, no. And Alexander realized, my whole kingdom is not worth 1 breath. He died a beggar. Don't die like Alexander, die like a Buddha. Buddha died asking his disciples, do you have any final questions? He was so relaxed, so open. He was not clinging. He was sharing his light until the very last moment. This capacity to let go, this is what we are practicing here. Every time you sit in meditation and watch your thoughts, you are practicing death. You are letting the thought die. You are letting the emotion die. You are practicing the art of non-attachment. If you can be non-attached to your thoughts, you can be non-attached to your body when the time comes. You will see the body dying and you will say, this is happening to the house, not to the master of the house. I am the witness. This witnessing is your immortality. If you are beginning to understand this, if the fear is loosening its grip on your throat, then you are ready for the next step, but you need support. The society will try to pull you back into fear. They sell fear, insurance, religion, politics. It is all based on the fear of death. You need a counterforce. That is why I invite you to join this commune. Click the join button. It is a way of saying, I choose courage over fear. Use super thanks to energize this message. Let it reach others who are trembling in the dark. Read the ebooks to understand the mechanics of the mind. Knowledge is the first step to freedom. But don't stop at knowledge. Move to experience. Now let us go deeper into the psychology of the ego. Why does the ego need time? Because the ego is a process, not a substance. Think of a bicycle. It is stable only when it is moving. If you stop the bicycle, it falls over. The ego is a bicycle. It needs the movement of desire, future, or memory, past, to stay upright. If you stop, if you come to a complete standstill in the now, the ego falls over, it crashes, and that crash is what you call enlightenment. Enlightenment is the crash of the bicycle. It is the realization that you don't need to go anywhere. You are already home, but you are addicted to the pedaling. You think if you stop pedaling, you will cease to exist. Yes, the false you will cease to exist, but the real you will be revealed. You are like a wave running across the ocean, trying to find water. I must run faster. I must reach the shore. And the ocean whispers, relax, you are water, just settle down. But the wave is afraid to settle down, because if it settles down, it disappears as a wave. It becomes just ocean. The ego wants to be a wave. It wants to be special. It wants to be separate. I am the biggest wave. I am the fastest wave. And death is the shore where all waves crash. But if you understand, you can crash before the shore. You can crash right now, in the middle of the ocean. You can subside into your own depth. That is meditation. Subsiding into your own source. And when you do that, you realize, I never was the wave. I was always the ocean. The form was temporary. The essence is eternal. This shift from form to essence is the whole journey. And to make this shift, you have to stop trusting the mind. The mind is obsessed with form. It judges by the surface. He is ugly, she is beautiful, he is rich, she is poor. These are surface judgments. In the essence, everyone is the same light. When you live in the now, you stop judging, you start seeing. You see the light inside the ugly person. You see the light inside the poor person. You see the light inside yourself. And when you see the light, you fall in love with existence. This is not a romantic love, this is a cosmic love. Agape, you are simply in love with the fact that things exist. The tree exists, wow. The rock exists, wow. Everything becomes a wonder. You become a child again. Jesus says, unless you become like little children, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. What does he mean? He means, drop the knowledge, drop the past, drop the seriousness, regain your wonder. Look at your hand. Really look at it. It is a miracle of engineering, of biology, of consciousness. But you take it for granted. It's just a hand. Nothing is just anything. Everything is divine. This vision, this clarity, it is available. But you have to clean the windshield. Your windshield is covered with the mud of tomorrow. I have to go there. I have to do that. Wipe it off. Be here. When you are here, the windshield is clear. And suddenly, the world is technicolor. You see colors you never saw before. You hear sounds you never heard before. The silence speaks to you, and in that silence you hear the message. You are safe. You have always been safe. Even in death you are safe. Because you are not the body that dies. You are the space in which the body lives and dies. I want you to feel this space right now. Close your eyes for a second. Feel the space inside your head. Is it black? Is it empty? That emptiness is you. The thoughts come and go in that emptiness, but the emptiness does not come and go. The feelings come and go, but the emptiness remains. Identify with the emptiness, not with the contents. Be the container, not the content. This is the key. The content is time. The container is timeless. The content is ego. The container is soul. Shift your allegiance. Stop voting for the ego. Vote for the soul. And when you vote for the soul, you become a revolutionary. Society doesn't like soul people. They are hard to control. You cannot scare them with punishment because they don't fear death. You cannot bribe them with rewards because they don't need the future. They are free. And freedom is dangerous to the establishment. That is why they killed Jesus. That is why they poisoned Socrates. That is why they are afraid of me, because I am teaching you to be kings, not slaves. I am teaching you to be masters of your own being, and the master lives in the now. The slave lives in tomorrow. The master commands his own attention. The slave is distracted by every shiny object. Be a master. Claim your kingdom. The kingdom is here. It is not in the clouds. It is in your own heart. The kingdom of God is within you. How many times have you heard this? But have you heard it? Within, not tomorrow. Within. Go in. But Osho, it is dark inside. I am afraid. Yes, in the beginning it is dark, because you have never switched on the light. The light switch is awareness. Watch the darkness. Don't run from it. If you watch the darkness, slowly, it changes quality. It becomes a velvety silence. It becomes a rest. It becomes the womb of creation. And out of that darkness, a light arises, a light that is not from the sun or the moon, the inner light. Once you see that light, fear is impossible. You become a light unto yourself. We are approaching the end of this journey, but the journey continues in your life. I am giving you the map. You have to walk. In the next section, we will talk about the new dawn. What happens when a human being lives totally in the now? What does that society look like? What does that world look like? We will dream together of a world without time, a world of pure presence, because if enough of us wake up, the world will change. War creates time. It destroys the now for the sake of the future. Love creates the now. It forgets the future for the sake of the moment. Make love, not war. Make now, not tomorrow. But before we part for this section, I ask you a favor. Not for me, but for the work. The work needs hands. The work needs energy. If you have felt the touch of truth, do not be a passive consumer. Give back. Join the channel. Super thanks. Share the video. Be a gardener of this consciousness. Help us plant these seeds and read. Read the e-books. Soak yourself in the Master's energy. Because the mind is very forgetful. You will listen to this, you will feel good. And 10 minutes later you will be worrying about your dinner. You need constant reminding. That is what I am here for. To be your constant reminder. To be the thorn in your side that keeps you awake. So take this thorn. Keep it. Let it prick you whenever you fall asleep. Let it remind you, there is no tomorrow. There is only this breath, this silence, this love. You have been told that man is a rational animal. Aristotle defined man as a rational animal. I say to you, man is not rational and man is not an animal. Man is a bridge, man is a tension between the animal and the divine. The animal lives in the now, but he is unconscious. The cow munching grass is in the now, but she doesn't know she is in the now. She is peaceful, but her peace is the peace of sleep. The divine lives in the now and is totally conscious. A Buddha, a Christ, they are awake. You are in between. You are neither the cow nor the Buddha. You are a mess. You have lost the innocence of the animal, but you have not yet gained the consciousness of the divine. You are hanging in the middle, and because you are hanging, you are anxious. You are pulled by the past, the animal instincts, and you are pulled by the future, the desire to be godlike. The old man, the man of the past, tried to solve this by choosing one side. The materialist chose the animal. He said, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. He denied the soul. He became just a body, but he remained empty. You can eat and drink, but if there is no light inside, you are just a well-fed machine. The spiritualist, the monk, the priest chose the divine. He denied the body. He went to the monastery. He fasted. He tortured himself. He said, the world is an illusion, but he became dry. He became a dead leaf. He had no juice, no laughter, no dance. I bring you a new synthesis. Zorba the Buddha. Zorba the Greek, earthy, passionate, dancing on the beach, loving life, drinking wine, and Gautama the Buddha, silent, sitting under the Bodhi tree, witnessing pure awareness. The new man is both. He is not schizophrenic. He is whole. He lives in the marketplace, but he is not of the marketplace. He enjoys the wine, but he remains the witness. He loves the woman, but he remains alone in his soul. This is the hardest thing for the mind to grasp. The mind likes categories. Are you a sinner or a saint? I say, be a holy sinner. Be a saintly sinner. Drop the categories. Why choose? Existence has given you a body. Enjoy it. Existence has given you a consciousness. Enjoy it. Use the outside to beautify the inside. Use the inside to beautify the outside. But to be this new man, you have to drop the disease of ambition. Ambition is the arrow that points to the future. I want to be the richest man. I want to be the prime minister. I want to be the pope. Ambition means I am not happy here. I will be happy there. And so you run, you trample on others, you destroy nature, you start wars. All wars are created by ambitious people. Alexander, Napoleon, Hitler, what were they? They were madmen obsessed with tomorrow. They wanted to leave a legacy. They wanted to be remembered in history. What a foolish idea. Who cares if you are remembered? The dead don't read history books. When you are dead, it doesn't matter if you were an emperor or a beggar. Dust is dust. But because of this madness to be somebody in the future, they turned the whole world into a slaughterhouse. If you drop ambition, does it mean you stop working? Does it mean you become a vegetable? No. This is the misunderstanding. If you drop ambition, you work better, because now you work out of love, not out of greed. A painter who paints for money is always looking at the customer. Will they buy this? Is it blue enough? Is it red enough? He is compromising. His art is dead. A painter who paints for the joy of painting, he doesn't care if it sells. He is expressing his soul, and paradoxically his painting has power. His painting will touch people. When you work out of love, you create masterpieces. When you work out of ambition, you create garbage. Look at your world today. It is full of plastic garbage. Why? Because nobody loves what they are doing. They only love the paycheck at the end of the month. They are selling their time. They are prostitutes of time. I want you to be lovers of work, not prostitutes of work. When you cook, cook as if you are preparing food for God, because the guest is God. When you clean the floor, clean it as if you are cleaning the temple, because your house is a temple. This shift in attitude changes the quality of your life instantly. You don't need to change your job, you just need to change your mind. From ambition to expression, from future to present. This is a rebellion, a silent rebellion. If everyone drops ambition, the politicians will be out of a job. Who will follow them? They promise you a utopia in the future. Vote for me, and in 5 years we will have paradise. And you, like sheep, you say, bah, yes, 5 years is not long. It has been 5,000 years. Where is the paradise? The paradise is always 5 years away. It is like the horizon. The politician lives on your hope. The priest lives on your fear. Both need tomorrow. If you live in the now, you need neither. You are your own master. You look at the politician and laugh. Why wait 5 years? I can be happy right now. I don't need your revolution. I have my own revolution inside. This is why society is afraid of the present moment. If people become present, they become uncontrollable. They become wild. They stop buying things they don't need. Why buy a new car if you are happy with the old one? Why buy a bigger house if you are peaceful in a small hut? The economy of more collapses. The economy of enough begins. And enough is a beautiful word. It is a spiritual word. I have enough. Can you say this? The ego never says enough. The ego is a bottomless pit. You throw the whole world into it, and it still shouts more. The soul whispers enough. This breath is enough. This sunlight is enough. When you reach the state of enoughness, you have arrived. You are home. I am inviting you to come home. But the road home is not on a map. The road home is a turning in, and you need energy for this turning. You have leaked all your energy into the future. You are like a bucket with holes. We need to plug the holes. The hole of worry, plug it with trust. The hole of ambition, plug it with creativity. The hole of guilt, plug it with self-acceptance. When the holes are plugged, the energy rises, it accumulates, it becomes a pillar of fire inside you. This energy is Kundalini, it is life force. And when it hits your third eye, you see that time is a game. You see that you are the player, not the piece. This transformation requires a milieu. a climate. A seed cannot grow on a stone. It needs soil, it needs water, it needs a gardener. I am the gardener. This channel is the gardener. You are the seeds, but you have to let yourself be planted. Clicking join is a way of planting yourself in this soil. It is saying, I am ready to grow. Using super thanks is like watering the garden. It keeps the ecosystem alive. Reading the ebooks is like absorbing the sunlight. It gives you the nutrients of wisdom. But the growth is yours. I cannot grow for you. I can only create the situation. You have to burst open. And bursting open is painful. The seed has to die for the plant to be born. Your ego has to crack. Are you ready to crack? Or are you going to remain a hard, closed nut for the rest of your life? A nut is safe, yes, but a nut never knows the wind, never knows the rain, never knows the flower. Risk it, crack open. Now, let us look at the concept of dreaming. You think that when you sleep at night, you dream, and when you wake up in the morning, you are in reality. I say to you, you are dreaming 24 hours a day. Your night dreams are private dreams, your day dreams are public dreams. In the night you dream you are a king, in the day you dream you are a successful businessman. What is the difference? Both are projections of the mind. When you are in the office worrying about a meeting next week, you are dreaming. You are not in the office. You are in a fantasy of the future. When you are walking down the street thinking about what you will cook for dinner, you are dreaming. You are not on the street, you are in the kitchen of your mind. To be awake means no projection. To be awake means to see what is there, not what you think is there. This is what the mystic Gurdjieff meant when he said, man is asleep. You are sleepwalkers. You drive cars in your sleep. You make laws in your sleep. You kill people in your sleep. And because you are asleep, you create nightmares. Look at the world history. It is a nightmare of blood and violence. Only sleeping people could do this. If you wake up even for a second, the violence drops. You cannot hurt anyone when you are awake, because you see that there is no other. You see that we are all branches of the same tree. How to wake up? You need a shock. Life gives you shocks, but you cushion them. Illness is a shock. Death of a loved one is a shock. Loss of a job is a shock. These are alarm clocks provided by existence. But instead of waking up, you take a sleeping pill. You drink alcohol, you watch a movie, you try to numb the shock. Don't numb it, use the shock. When your wife leaves you, don't get drunk. Sit with the pain. It is a tremendous energy. The pain is tearing your ego apart. Let it tear. In that gap, in that crack, the light enters. Leonard Cohen sang, there is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Your broken heart is the crack. Your failure is the crack. Don't patch it up. Look through it. Through the crack of your broken dreams, you can see the reality. And the reality is more beautiful than any dream. Dreams are cheap. Reality is precious. Dreams are made of smoke. Reality is made of gold. But you prefer the smoke because the smoke is customizable. You can control your dreams. In your dream, you can be the master. In reality, you are not the master. You are a servant. You have to surrender to the laws of existence. The ego hates surrender. The ego wants to conquer nature. Science tries to conquer nature. Religion tries to surrender to nature. I am teaching you the ultimate religion, surrender to the now. Surrender to the fact that you are breathing. You are not doing it, it is happening. Surrender to the fact that your heart is beating. Surrender to the mystery. When you surrender, the tension of tomorrow evaporates, because tomorrow is your plan. Surrender means dropping the plan. Let existence decide. If existence wants me to go left, I go left. If right, I go right. You become a dry leaf in the wind. Have you ever watched a dry leaf? It has no will of its own. When the wind blows north, it goes north. It doesn't say, I have an appointment in the south. It just goes. And because it has no resistance, it is graceful. It dances. It is never tired. You are always tired because you are fighting the wind. You want to go south when the wind is blowing north. Stop fighting, become the leaf. This is the path of Lao Tzu, Wu Wei, effortless action. When you live without a plan, you live with God's plan, and God's plan is always for the now. God doesn't have a calendar. But Osho, if I become a leaf, people will trample on me. See, the fear again. The ego says, you must be a rock, not a leaf. You must be hard. But rocks crumble, leaves fly. The rock resists and is eventually turned to sand. The leaf yields and rides the wind. Who is stronger, the one who fights or the one who flows? Water is softer than rock, yet water cuts through rock. Be like water, be fluid, don't have a rigid shape. I am a doctor, I am a husband, these are shapes. Be liquid, today you are a doctor, tomorrow you might be a gardener. Flow, don't get stuck in the form. When you are fluid, you cannot be broken. You can only break something that is rigid. If you are flexible, if you are liquid, death cannot break you. It can only pour you into a larger container. This fluidity is the essence of the new man. He is not fixed. He is a process. He is a river. You never step in the same river twice, and you never meet the same person twice. If you meet me tomorrow, don't expect the same offer. I will be new, and I don't expect the same offer. Let us meet afresh every day. Let us burn the past every night. This is the only way to be alive. Otherwise, we are just two ghosts haunting each other. I want you to haunt this channel no longer. I want you to live in it. Make this space a sanctuary for your fluidity. Share your experiences in the comments, not your theories, your experiences. Today I watched the sunset, and for a moment I disappeared. There is a comment worth reading. I agree with your philosophy. That is rubbish. Throw it away. I don't have a philosophy. I have a presence. Taste the presence. And if the taste is sweet, share the fruit. Subscribe. Like. These are small ripples you send out. Join. Super thanks. These are bigger waves. Read the books. These are the deep currents. But be the ocean. Now we must address the final illusion that keeps you tethered to time, hope. We touched on it before, but we must pull it out by the roots. You think hope is a virtue. The priests tell you faith, hope, and charity. I say faith is good, charity is good, but hope is a poison. Hope means you are dissatisfied with the present. Hope means you are rejecting God's gift. God gives you this. You hope for that. You are saying, God, your gift is not good enough. I want an upgrade. Hope is the refusal to accept reality. A man of awareness has no hope. This sounds terrible to you. No hope, then he must be in despair. No, despair is the other side of the coin of hope. If you have hope, you will have despair when the hope fails. If you have no hope, you can have no despair. You are free from the coin altogether. You are simply here. And here is so full, so rich, so beautiful that hope is simply unnecessary. Do you think a rose bush hopes to be a pine tree? No. It is so happily a rose bush. It is so busy being a rose bush, exploring the redness of its flowers, the greenness of its leaves. It has no time to hope. Only man hopes, and only man is miserable. Drop hope, be hopeless, and in that hopelessness, you will find a sudden explosion of joy. I don't need anything, I am enough. That realization is the kingdom of heaven. So, walk out of the prison of hope, walk out of the prison of the future, walk out of the prison of the past, stand under the naked sky of the now. It might feel cold at first, you might feel vulnerable, but soon the sun will rise, the sun of your own awareness, and it will warm you from the inside out. We are almost at the end of this transmission, but the transmission is not the words. The transmission is the silence between the words. Have you been listening to the gaps? Have you been listening to the pauses? That is where I am. The words are just excuses to create the silence. If you catch the silence, you have caught the master. If you catch only the words, you have caught a parrot. Don't be a parrot keeper, be a master seeker. In the next part, we will conclude this journey. We will seal the energy. We will talk about gratitude, not the gratitude for what you will receive, but the gratitude for what is. Gratitude is the final flower. When you are grateful for the now expands. When you complain, the now shrinks. We will learn the alchemy of gratitude, and we will say our final goodbye to tomorrow. But for now, carry this silence with you. Carry it like a fragile flame in a windy night. Protect it. Don't let the winds of the world blow it out. Be a guardian of your own light. And finally, we arrive at the highest peak of consciousness, the peak where the air is thin, where the silence is absolute, and where the mind cannot breathe. This peak is gratitude. I told you that hope is a disease because it rejects the now. Now I tell you that gratitude is the cure because it accepts the now totally. But you have to understand what I mean by gratitude. Your gratitude is a business transaction. You say thank you only when you get what you want. If you get the job, you say thank you, God. If you get the disease, do you say thank you, God? No. You complain. You say, why me? Your gratitude is conditional. And conditional gratitude is not gratitude. It is just politeness. It is just manners. Real gratitude, spiritual gratitude is unconditional. It says, thank you for everything, for the light and for the darkness, for the pleasure and for the pain, for the life and for the death. This is hard for the ego. The ego selects. The ego picks and chooses. I like this, I don't like that. But the soul does not choose. The soul knows that everything is necessary. The darkness is necessary for the stars to shine. The pain is necessary to carve the depth of your being. The winter is necessary for the spring to come. When you see the necessity of everything, a tremendous thank you rises in your heart. This thank you is the only true prayer. Forget all your other prayers. They are just begging. Give me this, save me from that. You are treating God like a cosmic shopping mall. Stop begging. Start thanking. Even if you are in a prison, thank existence for the breath. Even if you are poor, thank existence for the eyes that can see the sky. There is always something to be grateful for. And the moment you focus on that something, it expands. Whatever you focus on grows. If you focus on what is missing the future, your lack grows. You feel poorer and poorer. If you focus on what is present, the now, your abundance grows. You feel richer and richer. A man who has nothing but is grateful is an emperor. A man who has everything but is ungrateful is a beggar. Which one are you? I want you to be emperors. And the kingdom is not outside, it is in your attitude. The alchemy of gratitude turns the base metal of a mundane life into the gold of the divine. Try it. For the next 24 hours, make a vow. I will not complain. I will only thank. If you stumble and stub your toe, don't curse. Say, thank you, existence, for waking me up. I was sleepwalking and this pain brought me back to the body. Turn every poison into nectar. This is the tantra of daily life. And when you live in this state of thanksgiving, the tomorrow disappears completely. Why would you worry about tomorrow when today is so full? Why would you run to the future when the present is a feast? Gratitude anchors you in the now more than any other force. It is the heaviest anchor and the lightest wing. It keeps you grounded in reality, but it makes your spirit fly. You are guests here. This earth is not your home. It is a hotel. You are staying here for 70, 80 years. It is a short visit. When you are a guest in someone's house, do you complain about the curtains? Do you rearrange the furniture? Do you demand better service? No, you are polite. You are grateful for the hospitality. Treat existence with the same courtesy. The sun cooks for you. The trees breathe for you. The rivers give you water. The whole universe is serving you. And what do you give back? Complaints? Worry? Give back your gratitude. Make your life a song of praise. This is why I ask you to support this work. Not because I need your money, I need nothing, but because you need to give. Giving is the expression of gratitude. If you have received something from these words, a silence, a clarity, a spark, then let it flow back. Click the join button. It is a gesture of thank you. Use the super thanks. It is a ritual of unburdening. When you give, you empty yourself, and when you are empty, God can fill you again. If you hold on, if you are miserly, you become a stagnant pool. Be a river, flow, and as you flow, read the books. They are the maps of the river. They show you where the rocks are, where the waterfalls are. But remember, the map is not the water. You have to be wet. Now let us look at the ultimate consequence of living without tomorrow. Creativity. I touched on this, but we must go deeper. You think creativity is only for artists, painters, poets, musicians? I say creativity is the quality of a person who lives in the now. If you are fully present, whatever you do is creative. You can peel a potato creatively. You can sweep the floor creatively. What is the difference between a creative act and a mechanical act? A mechanical act is done by the robot mind. You are thinking about something else while you do it. It is dull. It has no love in it. A creative act is done with total awareness. You are there with the potato. You are there with the broom. And because you are there, you put your love into it. You put your soul into it. And the object responds. The floor shines differently when it is swept with love. The food tastes divine when it is cooked with presence. This is the secret of the prasad, the holy food in the temple. It is just ordinary food, but it is cooked with chanting, with gratitude. And suddenly it has a spiritual nutrition. Your life can be a continual creativity. You don't need to write a poem. Your life is the poem. How you walk, how you look at people, how you touch, let it all be artistic. Let it all be beautiful. Beauty is not a luxury. Beauty is a necessity for the soul. And beauty only exists in the now. Ugliness belongs to the past and future. Beauty belongs to the present. Have you ever seen an ugly sunset? No, because the sunset is happening now. Have you ever seen an ugly flower? No. Only man creates ugliness because only man lives out of time. When you return to the now, you return to beauty. You become beautiful, not because of your makeup, but because of your radiance. A person who is present glows. There is a light in their eyes. There is a grace in their movements. This is the true charisma. And this charisma changes the world. You want to change the world? You want to stop wars? You want to save the planet? Don't start with protests. Start with yourself. A peaceful person creates peace around him. An angry person creates war around him. If you are vibrating with tomorrow, which is anxiety, you are polluting the atmosphere. You are adding to the cloud of fear that covers the earth. If you are vibrating with now, which is peace, you are cleaning the atmosphere. You are an ozone layer for the soul. Your silence is a contribution. Your joy is a contribution. Don't underestimate the power of one individual. One Buddha raises the consciousness of the whole of humanity. One Jesus changes the temperature of the whole planet. Be that individual. Don't wait for the crowd. The crowd is asleep. The crowd is moving towards the cliff. Step out of the crowd. Be a lion. The sheep live in a crowd because they are afraid. The lion walks alone. Be a lion of consciousness. But Osho, it is lonely to be a lion. Yes, in the beginning it feels lonely because you miss the warmth of the other sheep bodies. You miss the noise. But soon you will see that this loneliness is actually solitude. Loneliness is negative. It means you are missing others. Solitude is positive. It means you have found yourself. Solitude is a peak. It is pure air. In solitude you are not alone. You are with the whole universe. The stars talk to you. The wind talks to you. You are part of the cosmic dance. And in this dance, there is no time. The dance is eternal. The dancer comes and goes. The body comes and goes. But the dance remains. You are the dance. Stop identifying with the dancer, the ego. Identify with the dance, the consciousness. The dancer gets tired. The dance never gets tired. The dancer gets old. The dance is ageless. The dancer dies. The dance is immortal. When you know this, fear of death vanishes. And when fear of death vanishes, the obsession with tomorrow vanishes, because tomorrow is just a defense against death. If you accept death, you don't need tomorrow. Today is enough. This moment is eternity. So, here is my final challenge to you. Not a commandment. I hate commandments. A challenge, an invitation. Die to the past. Right now. Drop it. All your memories, good and bad. Drop them. Die to the future. Right now. Drop it. All your plans, your worries, your hopes, drop them. stand here, naked, empty, just a breathing awareness. Feel the freedom, feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. This is your natural state, this is who you are. Don't let the society put the baggage back on you. They will try, they will say, but you need to worry about your pension. Smile at them, say, I am already pensioned by the universe, I am taken care of. Walk lightly, live dangerously, live blissfully. And whenever you feel the weight returning, because it will return, old habits are strong, come back to this space, come back to this voice, come back to this silence. We have created a reservoir of silence here. Drink from it. This channel is a watering hole in the desert. Don't just pass by. Drink, and when you are full, share the water, share the video, invite your friends. Come, here is a crazy man talking about no tomorrow. Let's listen. Maybe they will laugh. Good, laughter is a beginning. Maybe they will get angry. Good, anger is a beginning. Anything is better than indifference. Anything is better than sleep. So I leave you not with a conclusion, but with a beginning. This is not the end of the talk. This is the beginning of your life, the real life, the life without time, the life of the eternal now. Go, dance, laugh, and be. Ashe.